Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Hey.
We love to explore these ideas that kind of flip the script on how we think about things.
Uh-huh.
And today we're diving into one that really caught my eye. So it's this idea that you can achieve major, serious personal transformation
Yeah.
in just 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 months, I know, right?
Sounds pretty quick.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical at first, honestly.
Right.
3 months, come on. But the more I dug into the text that we're looking at today, it's called pasted text.
Okay.
The more I thought, there might be something to this.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it all starts with how this text, this pasted text, frames that very first month.
Okay, yeah.
It's not just about setting goals,
Uh-huh.
It's way more about this deep introspection.
So like inner work. Yeah.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself, what stories am I telling myself
Oh, wow.
about why I haven't achieved those goals yet?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
It's like getting real with those limiting beliefs, those things that we all carry around.
I love that. Like unpacking all of that. Because a lot of times it's subconscious, right? We don't even realize the stories we're telling ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this text, pasted text,
Yeah.
it even suggests literally writing those stories down,
Okay.
getting them out of your head,
Yeah.
and then analyzing them, looking for those negative patterns.
Wow.
Almost like, if you're debugging some code, you know what I mean?
I like that analogy.
You're looking for the glitch in the system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And sometimes just bringing those stories to the surface is half the battle, shining a light on them.
Oh, 100%. It reminds me of something I read about in psychology, the trans-theoretical model of change.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it basically says that one of the first stages of making any kind of lasting change is awareness.
Right.
You have to actually become conscious of what needs to be different and why you're stuck in the first place.
It's like taking inventory, right? Before you can revamp the store, you got to know what's on the shelves.
Perfectly said. So, okay, imagine you've spent that first month doing that deep dive into your own thinking.
Yeah.
You've kind of unearthed those stories you've been telling yourself. Now what? What comes next?
Well, naturally, you're probably fired up, ready to make some big changes.
Hit the ground running.
Exactly. But pasted text, it actually cautions against going for this huge, massive overhaul right away. Month 2, it's all about the power of small changes.
So?
Tiny, consistent tweaks. It even uses this analogy of a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, but with every rotation,
There's momentum.
exactly, it picks up more and more snow.
I love that. It's so visual. I think a lot of us, and I've definitely been guilty of this, fall into the trap of wanting to change everything at once.
Oh, yeah. New Year's resolutions, the classic example.
Oh, tell me about it. Every January, it's like, okay, this is it, new me, new everything. But then
Hard to sustain, right?
it's totally unsustainable. By week 3, you're back to your old habits.
Burnout sets in.
Major burnout.
Yeah.
But this text, pasted text, it really argues that change that sticks, it happens incrementally.
Bit by bit.
Yeah, and it's all about picking 1 or 2 small, super manageable habits.
Yeah.
Things you could realistically do day after day.
Yeah.
And pasted text gives some great examples, like spending just 5 minutes each morning decluttering your desk. Or,
Oh, I like that one.
yeah, super doable. Or swapping, those sugary drinks
Yeah.
for just water.
Small changes, big impact.
Huge impact. And, I appreciate that this text really focuses on, giving yourself permission to start small
Oh, yeah.
and celebrating those little wins along the way.
Because those little wins add up. They really do.
They totally do. And they kind of build this momentum like that snowball.
Exactly. The text talks about how important it is to acknowledge even the smallest progress.
Yeah.
Because each win, no matter how small, it's a step in the right direction.
It's proof that you're moving forward.
Yes, and it reinforces that commitment to change. It's like, hey, I can do this.
It's a confidence booster, for sure. Okay, so we've done the deep inner work. We've started making these small but consistent changes.
Yeah.
What happens in month 3? Is that when we see, the big transformation?
Well, month 3 is when pasted text really zeroes in on those tangible results. You've been putting in the work for 2 months.
You've built the foundation.
Exactly.
So-
And now you're starting to see the fruits of your labor, so to speak. But the text also acknowledges that results, they're going to look different for everybody.
It makes me think about how we often have this very specific picture in our heads of what success is supposed to look like.
Right.
But sometimes the reality of change is, well, it's messier than that,
It's not always a straight line.
Totally. And pasted text, It actually gives this really interesting example of somebody who had a goal of losing weight.
Okay.
And by month 3, they hadn't lost as much weight as they had hoped. They were sleeping better.
Okay.
They had way more energy. They felt less stressed.
Interesting. So those positive changes, they weren't necessarily reflected on the scale.
Exactly. They were happening like beneath the surface.
I see, yeah. It's like sometimes the most profound transformations, they're not always visible to the naked eye.
That's such a good point. And, Paste to Text, it leaves us with this really powerful thought. Even though the book focuses on this 3-month framework, it's not just about those 3 months.
Right.
It's about how we can apply this framework to any goal, really,
Yeah.
no matter how big or small.
Yeah.
Break it down into these manageable, 3-month chunks.
I like that.
And suddenly, even those goals that felt really daunting, they become a lot more achievable.
It's like creating a roadmap for continuous growth.
It is. And that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you found this exploration insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Who knows, maybe you'll give this 3-month approach a try for yourself. Until next time, keep those minds curious and keep diving deep.